Hello, guys and gals. Welcome to an extravagant night here in beautiful Hollywood, California. No, I'm just kidding. We are quarantined at home, but we're still dressed for the occasion. It's the 2020 Domeys. Adrian, how are you?
It's absolutely massive. It's the biggest occasion, the second annual Alamodome Audible Domeys Awards. We are so excited to be here on the red carpet with you guys to present the awards. I mean,
So I got
it's
to ask,
electric.
I don't know about you, but I hadn't put this suit on until February. Have you worn yours more recently?
Well, the bow tie and the shirt. Yes. Well, actually, yes. So I had to do the ministering of my sister's wedding.
That's
in November,
right. Yeah.
And I did get suited and booted for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to admit, this suit jacket, man, it's a little tight. You can probably see on the shoulders, man.
Little shoulder coming out. No,
yeah,
dude, it looks good. I think it looks good.
I know I gained some weight over COVID, but you put the suit on, it's like, damn.
Always fits different. Yeah, I have hardly any shirts that fit my neck. I got a big neck, man, and I think it's only getting thicker. So I really can't button the top button on very many of my shirts anymore. I have like one white and one black, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, we should have champagne, but we don't. I've got a shaker full of tequila here.
What did you call it?
It's called a ranch water. It's tequila, Topo Chico, and lime.
Yes, sir.
Excellent
I've had
drink.
a couple of ranch waters before. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
For sure. Well, I'm sipping on a little wake and bake in the champagne glass. So
I actually didn't have any champagne glasses. This was the fanciest piece of glassware that I have.
Dollar Tree. It's literally $1.
Alamodome Audible, keeping it classy as always.
Yeah, that's right. They have quality glass at Dollar Tree for just $1.
Cool. So we are here to talk about the nominees for each Domey Award, as well as reveal each winner. I do have the leading vote getters here in these envelopes.
Yes, very excited. Very excited.
On some extremely official legal paper. Yes, only the most democratic of processes here.
Oh, yes.
The results.
Absolutely. And I recounted, as did Jared. So it's legit, guys, and everything's posted. You can go and count yourselves. Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty transparent with this, and this, again, second annual Domeys, we made a lot of changes this year. Mm-hmm. Last year, we kind of pulled it out, maybe not on the fly, so to speak, but we just kind of came up with it, and we spat it out. We did all of the awards ourselves this time, and Jared put it great earlier today. It's a people's vote. It's a people's award. So we put it in your hands. We list some nominations. We even let you write in responses. The poll's been up for, a week?
I think about a week, yeah.
So absolutely massive, and thank you. I mean, we can't thank you guys enough for participating in the voting, for listening to the podcast, for being fans, following along with us for however many seasons you have been listening. I mean, it means the world. And this Domeys Awards, it's for you guys, for the listeners. We have a blast doing it.
Yeah, we had a great response. I mean, we had 158 people fill out a ballot.
Nice.
Which, we didn't really advertise it heading in or anything. So I was super happy about it. Only the second year we've done it. The first year we've done voting. So we learned a lot. There were some bumpy moments through the voting process, I would say. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably want to tailor it a little bit more next year. So, I had someone suggest that we should write a short blurb about each nominee so that people can kind of go in and vote based off that, because they might not know a whole lot about the softball team and all that.
Sure.
I was a little worried about the ballot being too long and a little bit hard to read and all that. But I think I will do that next year. Might add some additional categories as well. So we'll see. But I'm pretty happy with how things went.
I think that's important. Yeah, absolutely. We could maybe even Giphy, best moments and stuff like that. Yeah. You can see lined up. Because, at the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever it is, they'll put the video up, they'll put the music up, they'll put the scenes from the movie up, and you'll get to see the kind of montage, and you'll watch it and think, oh, that was a sweet-ass movie. Oh, but that one was even better. Oh, yeah, we need some of that. That's a good idea. Who came up with that one? Do you remember?
That was Burke, actually.
Big shout out, Burke, of course. Genius.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah,
great.
we should
That's
do
good
like
production value right there.
next year. We should like bone crushing hit of the year, and then have a montage of all the biggest hits.
Boom. Absolutely. Yeah, let's re-endorse some old school football, baby. Some concussion protocol football, baby. Let's do it.
Best targeting injection of the year.
We've always got a few of them, so we could probably line them up against one another. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I should have mentioned this at the start, but we are doing both a video and audio version of this Domeys award ceremony.
Yes.
So if you're listening to the podcast feed right now, you do have the option to stop listening. We already got the download credit, so we're good if you've listened this far. And we'll have the video posted on YouTube, I guess. We'll link to it on Patreon and Twitter and all that stuff. And if you are watching the video, audio is there on the podcast feed as well. So just want to throw that out there.
Love it. That's right.
Cool.
That's right. Tune in.
All right. Well, I think we've got the basics covered. Anything else we need to talk about before we start going through these awards?
No, I think we're ready, everybody. Welcome to the second annual Alamodome Audible Domeys Awards. We're going to get this thing started. Let's do it, baby.
Don't they usually have like a monologue to start an award show?
Yeah, I wanted to come up with something and do like some Jeff Traylor imitations and all that good stuff. Yeah. I just
comedic break.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I was quite ready
to
do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Maybe we can even get like a legitimate host for the Domeys because they typically hire a guest host. So maybe we can do that. We can hire a guest host that could come on in here and do the intro monologue and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be open. Open tryouts for that. So
everyone has to record a 2-minute video. And
that would be so great. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, well, let's get started with the first award. That is the best moment of the year. And so this was restricted to athletics, as it will be going forward in the future. Unfortunately, just the way 2020 went, it was really, really hard to get any non-football sports into the nominations. Like, we definitely tried our best, but most of the teams didn't even play this year. Or if they did play, it was a very shortened season due to COVID. So all of the nominees that we had were either football or football adjacent, and that's kind of is true for most of the award categories. But in the future, there'll be more diversity there. But kind of the way it is in 2020.
Right. And look, this is a big category to start this thing off with, man. So big shoes to fill here. Even though it was a quarantine season, we had some pretty fantastic moments, man. UTSA was a little bit spoiled in that regard this year because not a lot of teams got to enjoy too much.
So the way we're going to announce these is, like we said earlier, write-ins were open for nominations because I knew there was no way we would get every single, worthy candidate on the list. So we're going to go through and, call out some of the notable write-in nominations that we see. We got some pretty good ones for a lot of different categories. It will also say some of the top vote getters. And then after that, we'll go into the top 2. And then I will announce the winner after we talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I guess to start off in third place, we had football All-American selections. Ooh. So Sincere McCormick was named to an All-American team. Hunter DePlessis, I think, was on one, right? Or was it Lucas Dean?
Lucas Dean was on All-American, yeah.
Yeah. Man, for a 10-year-old program, UTSA has sure found a lot of ways to get All-Americans into their program. It's kind of amazing.
No, it's incredible. It's unprecedented. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. We did have a couple of nominations for the win over Texas State, which was great, but it kind of overlaps with the Game of the Year category.
Sure.
But I did want to shout those out.
Yeah, it was a great way to kick off pandemic season that we didn't even think would happen. And one of the, probably the best experience of watching a single UTSA football game I've ever had.
Yeah. Maybe if we were to take those nominations and split it down to an actual moment, we could probably say like the Texas State kicker missing the point after attempt.
Woo! That's good. Get real specific, particular within the game.
Yeah, or Duplessis hitting the game winner.
Or the interception, the pick 6.
Yeah.
The divine pick 6.
Sincere's first touchdown run of the year.
Oh,
I mean, remember Texas State came out and scored on us like in no time at all, and we're like, oh my god, this is gonna be
scary.
terrible.
Real
Because
scary.
we all thought this was the year Texas State was gonna take it. You know, COVID year, they got a new coach, they got all these transfers.
So we had barely escaped. It seems like they
Yeah.
kept closing the gap and closing the gap and closing the gap. So, yeah, man, we didn't know if we were going to pull that out, and the emotional roller coaster that game was.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that game more later on in a different category. One of my favorite nominations was just good football team. Points were made.
Haven't had that in a long time. One of my favorite was the subscriber exclusive Zoom call that we did with Coach Trailer in the preseason. And that was really, really awesome. I mean, definitely one of the coolest things we've gotten to do on this podcast would actually get the head coach here in the room with us, essentially, virtually, and chopping it up, him being as transparent as he was, talking to him off air, right, even in that regard. And it was just great.
Yeah, definitely one of our biggest achievements of last year for sure as a podcast. So
yeah,
great.
Huge.
All right, well, let's get into the top two. Our top two finalists for best moment of the year are the race groundbreaking. Just a monumental moment for UTSA. I think maybe this wins moment of the year for 2021 when they actually complete and open the race. Because actually opening it, I think, is more monumental than breaking ground. But what a huge win for this athletics department. I mean, really haven't had much in the way of a new facility, I mean, since Park West opened. And that was in what, like 2012, 2013?
Right, yeah.
And I mean, race is going to blow Park West out of the water.
Well, underwhelming, right? Underwhelming that was. And so race groundbreaking, one thing. And how about race progress? Because with the groundbreaking, it was like we were so far behind schedule at that point. You figured they were just shoving the shovels into the ground just to do it, right? Just to say they've done it. And it was like, they'll probably keep dragging ass along the way with building this thing. But no, they've stayed on top of the ball. It's going to be done this summer, and they've kicked butt on it. And race is so monumental. I mean, it's without a doubt the biggest thing that has ever happened to the athletics program, aside from getting a football team. You can argue it's just as important, not more. And man, for the future, it's everything. So to me, this really is the winner for the best moment of the year, was race actually being built and us getting an athletics facility becoming a real tangible thing. Because it still didn't seem real, even whenever you're seeing the blueprints and the virtual renderings. So, it's huge, man. But
yeah, and someone posted on the Birds Up message board this week that when you drive past campus on 1604, you can see race like towering over campus because it's up on Rattlesnake Hill. It's like super elevated.
That's crazy as hell.
It's like literally a shining beacon for UTSA athletics. I mean, incredible.
And to have the athletics be like this beautiful flagship of the campus, right? And something we hang up our hat on.
Oh, wow. Man, imagine you're at Fiesta, Texas, and you're taking, I can't remember what the ride is, but the
Superman?
one that's straight up. No, the one that just goes straight up.
Yeah.
You'd be up there and you're looking and you're like, man, what is that huge building right there? And then someone starts to tell you, oh, that's UTSA's at.
Oh man, there you go. Man, that ride was sick. That ride was sick. Yeah, but that UTSA facility looked really nice too. Yeah, did you see that? That would be cool. To me, I think you bring up a really, really good point, though. When it gets finished, maybe it'll get its just due.
Mm-hmm. So then the other finalist is the Frisco / First Responder Bowl selection. So I knew that I had to get this one on the ballot, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I was like, do I just put the Frisco Bowl selection and then don't do first responders? Do I do both as different moments?
Right.
I wasn't sure what to do. But, I mean, I think for me, this is kind of a catch-all moment to just kind of recognize the football team's success, our second trip to a bowl. And also, like, kind of, for me, one of the best moments was realizing how much better the First Responder Bowl was than the Frisco Bowl as far as, like, opponent and
massively
exposure goes,
Yeah, huge, tremendous. tremendous. Well, and there was the scare behind the whole thing too, right? Because we got into the Frisco Bowl, and at the exact same time that we did, teams were dropping like flies,
right?
And it was becoming pretty apparent that soon enough we weren't going to have an opponent. So we were sitting there just kind of waiting for the inevitable to happen. Even though we got the bowl bid, it felt like still kind of empty because you just knew that it might not happen. Sure enough, it didn't. And then we were really kind of in the dark. Didn't know if we were going to get another invite. Space was really, really limited. And the first responder bowl bid, I think whenever we got that invite, it almost felt even better than the Frisco one did. A lot more secure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, cool. So those are our key nominees and our finalists. So now, if you're listening to the audio and you're not watching the video, I am pulling out of my coat jacket the sealed envelope that's gone through security.
Oh, man.
I've got the winner right here in this envelope.
Oh, shoot.
I'll go ahead and reveal it. And the winner of the 2020 Domey for Best Moment of the Year goes to the Frisco First Responder Bowl selection with 37% of the vote.
Wow.
Thank you.
Incredible. Yeah, do we have some crowd filler applause noise that we can throw in behind those?
Oh, man. Yeah.
That'd be killer. Yeah.
Did you get one of those things like Twitch streamers have where like you press a button and it pipes in an effect?
I love that. Yeah,
we on that.
One of those. Dude, yeah, that's great. No, well deserved. For me, it's raised ground bucking, but it's okay. I'll give the bowl selection because it was huge. It was tremendous. Second bowl selection in just 10 years of program history, only 8 years of eligibility or 7 years of eligibility.
7, I think. Yeah.
7
because 2013 we would have got in with 7 wins, right? Yeah. Still terrible.
Massive feat, man.
I voted for race as well. But I think that's a good point that maybe it'll win it this year when it actually opens. I think that's fair. Reason being, like, we haven't broke ground on a new facility in pretty much a decade. And it wasn't much of a facility either. I mean, you could do one of those memes where it's like, what's your promise versus what you get, and do that like with the Park West renderings and like,
sure,
what we actually got. You know what I mean? But it was a huge step forward. I think it also is a great kind of encapsulation of like this new regime and leadership for UTSA, with Dr. Amy and Dr. Campos running things, like how quickly they were able to get shovels into the ground and make progress. So that's why I voted for it. But this is not the last we've heard of race. So
sure,
see how it goes next year.
Definitely.
All right, moving on. Next category is the worst moment of the year.
Love that.
A tough one to put together. Because like you don't want to be mean, so I kind of focus on things that were more like unlucky than anything else.
Sure, that's good.
Yeah,
just unfortunate moments of the year.
Right. Looking back, something that I didn't nominate, but I feel like I probably should have, and we actually only had one write-in along this topic. But I think that you definitely could have made the argument for just like all the games that got canceled or rescheduled or whatever. Someone did write in and say that the Rice game got canceled because of COVID-19. But I mean, that was a pretty big story. And, those first weeks leading up to the season, it was just like so much uncertainty. I know the two of us always felt like the season wasn't going to happen. So just that lead up, it was a really bad feeling. And that really sucked. And I think maybe we lost sight of that because we did such a good job of getting games filled and winning those games that we didn't spend too much time on it. But that was a pretty crappy feeling in the time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And there was a lot of uncertainty around that whole part of just the year. There was a 2-3 month period where it just looked grim.
Yeah.
Really grim.
So third place in this one was women's basketball having a 15-game losing streak.
Yikes. Yeah.
And I almost made this category. I think they've lost like 25 to the last 30 or something like that. But I couldn't do that because it went over into 2021. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have more to say on women's basketball program. Trust that.
Dude, that is brutal. That's absolutely brutal. 15 straight. Woof.
And I think it was all conference games too.
Yeah, it was, I believe.
I think they lost to Sam Houston by like 20 points this season already too. So 2021 is not looking to be more kind.
Yeah, fall from grace, man. Basketball's been taking the beating on both sides, you could say.
Definitely. Another category that got a lot of votes was Conference USA going 0-6 in bowls.
Rough,
Brutal.
ugly, real bad. Officially the bottom of the barrel, man.
I mean, by far, the absolute dredges. and really, the 6 games that Conference USA lost, none of them were really against like teams that we shouldn't have a shot against.
Way better than no. And it's bad. It's embarrassing, man, for this conference to be the absolute worst out of all Division I football.
Mm-hmm.
It's piss poor, man.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm not going to do the math here and divide, but I think that we got enough write-ins along the topic of quarterback injuries. If that would have been a top 4 like ballot option as a non-write-in option, it probably got 3rd place, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we had different write-ins for Josh Atkins breaking his collarbone, Narcisse getting hurt, Frank Harris being limited all season long. So there were a ton of write-ins for that. And I think if people could have just clicked on that one to vote for it, I think it would have got 3rd place.
Something that's troubled us not just this year, right? Those quarterback injuries. One of those weird years where we kind of had a little bit of the cycle going. Frank was able to hold us down for the most part, but still, it's scary.
Leaves a lot of what-if questions. I mean, UTSA was really close to beating UAB and BYU in games where they had to deal with quarterback injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you think. All right, well, let's go down to the 2 finalists. We have, I'm not sure how to best word this, but what I wrote on the ballot was UAB reaching the Conference USA title game with just 3 wins over UTSA.
I think that was the right way to word it. It was absolutely the right way to word it.
Yeah.
And that sucked. It absolutely sucked. And I get it, right? And we've had this argument on the podcast.
I feel like we've made this argument too many times.
We don't have to continue having it. But look, it was brutal. UTSA had the best record, quote unquote.
The most wins, definitely,
most wins in Conference USA West. So it's tough. But look, UAB won the thing. So
dude, they showed up. I mean, can't complain too much, but kind of is what it is, and it sucks that UTSA missed out on that opportunity, given how great of a showing they had in conference play. But their fate was in their own hands, so we can't complain too much.
And we were on such a high, we had done so well to finish off the season. It really felt like we'd earned.
Yeah.
And that's probably what hurt. That's probably what hurt too as well.
Right. Okay, the other finalist is Coach Jeff Traylor testing positive for COVID-19 and, of course, missing the First Responder Bowl.
Yeah, I think it hurts. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah. It hurt real bad. Just getting the news, I remember getting the tweet, seeing it, and yikes, man, that was just tough. You had a bad feeling kind of in the pit in your stomach whenever you saw it. It just made you feel bad, especially had such a damn good job he had done all season long leading these guys for him to not be able to do it in that postseason.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Not fair.
I hurt for him the most. I don't think it impacted the game too much.
Sure.
But it just sucks for him because he definitely deserved to have that experience in that moment with his players.
Not fair for him. Yeah, it's just not fair for Traylor to not be able to, enjoy that moment with his team. So
it was crazy, kind of surreal to see, to be watching the SEC title game or whatever it was, and the ESPN ticker says UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor tests positive for COVID-19. That was crazy.
That was freaking wild, man. Yeah, that was surreal. I'm
not sure if Coach has fully recovered yet. I know he said that his symptoms didn't really kick in until after the bowl game, but I'm hoping he's feeling better and getting back in the swing of it, closing out his recruiting class and getting ready to run it back this year and take care of business, finish that unfinished business.
Yeah. I think it'll be good.
Another envelope here.
This one's tough.
Suspense. The 2020 Domy Award. I got to get a standardized quip when I say this. The 2020 Domy for worst moment of the year goes to UAB getting the Conference USA West title selection.
With just 3 wins. Don't forget that part. With just 3 wins. It hurts. This one is tough, man, because those are both 2 really, really crappy moments. But, yeah, I can understand this one for sure, getting the vote.
Yeah, I agree. I think either of these could have been picked. Honestly, I think women's basketball was undervoted. Only had 23 votes.
You know why I think UAB gets that is because Jeff Traylor getting COVID can't really control that. UAB getting the title game, it feels like, right, if we would have beat UAB, there's some good things that we could have done differently. The ball would have bounced a little bit differently. Some things were more in our control, and that's why it stings a little bit.
The thing I come back to all the time is, like, if they wouldn't have put Weeks in, they would have went straight to Narcisse. That game was damn close, man. And when Weeks was in there, the ball didn't move.
No.
So.
And it was for a little bit too long.
It's those, like, small regrets that linger in the back of your head that make it tough.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, we'll move on to the next category. This is going to be non-sports story of the year. So keep this in mind when you vote next year that we do have this non-sports section. So we got some write-ins for stuff.
Love this.
That should have gone into this category but didn't. Man, where to start on this one? I guess we can start with the write-ins. Someone wrote in the Domy Awards as one of the non-sports stories.
Baby, the second annual. We're fortunate we were able to have a Domy Awards this year.
Absolutely.
Because had there not been any sports played, I don't think we could have done a Domies, Jared.
No. I mean, we could have pulled one off, but it would have been lame for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Probably the strongest write-in that we got across all categories was someone wrote in hashtag Bryce Strong for this one.
Great. That's
which awesome. I loved. That was great. That one should have been on there. We had a write-in for the men's baseball season ending early due to COVID. Mm-hmm. And someone wrote in 3 UTSA alumni being appointed to the Biden White House team, which is definitely an achievement for UTSA, but that did not happen in 2020. That happened in 2021.
Boom.
But it might make it on next year. We'll
technicality doesn't qualify. I have UTSA men's baseball season is a great write-in. That could even have been on worst moment of the year.
Yeah.
It was great write-in.
I think that one would have ranked a bit higher if the baseball team was, like, on fire. But sure. I think they ended with, like, a 500 record. But it would have really sucked if they were, like, I don't know, like 17-2 or something like that. That would have been brutal.
Oh, yeah,
if they were ranked.
Yeah.
That sucked. Okay, so some other big vote getters. UTSA surpassing $100 million in research expenditures. Got a lot of votes. That one actually got almost 26%. So it's pretty good. And then also the new science and engineering building opening up got its fair share of votes as well.
That was a good one. Yeah, I like that one.
But I think the 2 finalists stand heads and shoulders above, and for good reason. One of those being classes going virtual due to COVID-19.
Wow.
Obviously a major story, probably the most memorable one.
Crazy.
And the other one is the downtown campus expansion beginning. So.
Huge, massive, tremendous San Antonio, the future of downtown San Antonio, downtown campus becoming everything. Wow, man. That's massive.
Yeah, so I mean, just seeing the plans was really big because that was, like, really exciting and inspiring.
Yeah, that was cool.
See that they had that vision for it. They started building the new data science college downtown. And that was going to be beautiful, right there on San Pedro Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also had the rights for the old San Antonio jail get transferred over to UTSA to start building on that ground.
Tremendous.
So I think they've already done the demolition of the old jail, maybe?
They have. Yep.
Cool. Cool. So all those things, I think, combined, you roll them up into one category. Strong argument right there. But without further ado, unless you had anything more.
No.
Okay, sorry.
It's time.
All right. And the 2020 Domey for the Non-Sports Story of the Year award.
Great.
Goes to classes going virtual due to COVID-19.
Oh, man, I wanted downtown campus expansion. That's okay, though. That's okay. The UTSA remote, that was big. That was tremendous. And just another example of how this university has kind of been world class when coming to dealing with the pandemic, not just on the athletic side, but on the education side.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of students on Twitter complain about the financial aspect of it, which I certainly understand and I can empathize with, because I graduated with like, I don't know, 48K in student loan debt or something like that.
Sure.
But it's a lot better to see those complaints than at other schools where people are complaining that they don't feel safe in class. So it's a trade-off. I voted for COVID-19. Reason being, we're definitely going to remember that happened in 2020. The downtown expansion, I think it's going to be a little bit more hazy because it's going to be such a huge project over many, many years.
Sure.
I thought the classes going virtual was like the defining moment of 2020.
Sure. Well, and it could also have the more lasting effect because virtual classes could be something that sticks around for the long term for UTSA.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And several other universities. So
good point.
Big.
Okay. Next up is Athlete of the Year. We had three, I think, major blowouts. Yeah, we had three major blowouts. This is the first of the three.
Yeah.
We actually had, I'm not even going to say because I don't want to embarrass him, but we had one of our nominees not get a single vote, which hurt. I feel like people should have done a Google, put some respect on his name. So I'm just going to list the top three vote getters, and then I'll just say who the winner was. And second place was Katie Becker. If you guys are unfamiliar with her, she was a woman. Well, I guess she still is a women's soccer player. She had to retire early due to a medical issue when she was a freshman, but she stayed around on the team. She's like a student coach kind of deal. Mm-hmm. She's just there with the girls, helping them out and getting prepared to play. And then she actually beat cancer in 2020. I think she had lymphoma. I can't remember, but she has a great story. UTSA actually did a video with her. I really recommend you guys check that out if you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super, super inspirational.
Rowdy creative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And third place was Hunter Duplessis. And man, I mean, I feel like all the time we talk about football players that are great ambassadors to the university. The guys who take care of business on the field, obviously, and win a lot of accolades there, but also encompass like what it means to be a roadrunner and kind of like really puts the best face of the university forward in public. And I think Hunter's definitely that guy.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to an interview with him, he's just a really impressive young man, majoring in cybersecurity. So I'm a little biased. I'm gonna have to be a fanboy for him there since I work in cybersecurity. Just awesome dude. I mean, it's rare to see someone on the special teams unit be so respected as a leader, and Hunter definitely commanded that respect from the locker room.
Yeah, big time.
We're hoping he comes back for another year, but we don't know yet.
Big time.
And then in fourth place is Javon Jackson. So he became, I think, UTSA's all-time leading scorer.
He did.
2020. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yep. So. Bit of a rocky start to the season for Javon and the basketball team in 2021, but he had an awesome 2020, man. He was scoring lights out. Well, I think you guys can probably guess who the athlete of the year is. I'll be saying it. But the 2020 Domey Award for Athlete of the Year goes to UTSA running back Sincere McCormick.
Yes. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Sincere McCormick, maybe one of the best athletes in UTSA history from this season.
Yeah. He's only a sophomore. I mean, I have to keep reminding myself that all the time. I have his career statistics pulled up already. He has, where is that? 2,450 rushing yards. Keep in mind, 2 seasons, 19 touchdowns, 5.8 yards per carry average. And the stat that blows my mind the most, he averages 106 yards per game through his career. And he hasn't even hit his prime yet.
That's phenomenal. 106. That is great. Wow.
Hometown kid, had offers from all over the place, stayed home, held it down for Judson, holding it down for UTSA.
Represent, baby. That's huge, man.
He's being an ambassador.
Town, Countdown City to the death. Yeah, man.
He's out there now that the season's over. He's working with the youths out there, training them up, giving them inspirational speeches.
He is sincerely San Antonio.
He is the next Marcus Davenport, Man, it's awesome.
You gotta love it. Yep. You gotta love it.
Best running back in the state of Texas. Isn't that wild?
Mm-hmm. No surprise, though. Well deserved.
So we'll move on to Team of the Year. This will be a quick one. So we only had 3 teams receive votes.
Yeah.
Third place was softball with 1 vote. Second place was men's tennis with 2 votes. And without further ado, I got to keep opening the envelopes or I'll lose track of where I'm at. The 2020 Domy Award for Team of the Year goes to the football team.
No doubt about it. And look, football's king, sure, but what they were able to pull off just by coordinating and playing a football season, a football game this year was tremendous. But the athletics department, all the work that they did rescheduling, getting us damn near a full schedule, technically, and us going out and competing the way that we did, the national TV exposure, the wins, the bowl invite, the young talent on the team being as freaking good as they are. I mean, we got a great football product, a watchable football product for the first time in a long time. It's 2016.
Yeah, the thing I keep coming back to is like the sacrifice that not only the players made, but also the coaches, the off-field support staff, the trainers, the administration, all those people sacrificed greatly to make this season a success. They stayed inside the athletics bubble. They socially distanced. They, limited the size of their meetings. They wore their mask. They didn't go party. They didn't go see their friends. And like we saw with other teams across the country, every single week that you're able to play a game is a huge success. Because there are teams that didn't play any games. There's teams that only played a handful of games. There's teams that played most of their games with only like 50 guys available to play.
Right.
It was brutal. So just to see that buy-in and that sacrifice, it means more than just 2020. It means more than just this year. It means more than just winning 7 games. It means that Coach Traylor has built a really strong culture and foundation here where people are willing to make hard decisions and not just take the path of least resistance, and they're doing it for the person next to them as a unit.
Right. And all the small, tiny little things that you have to put effort into doing, all those small, tiny, minute details just to get through the crazy, tumultuous season that this was. Yeah. They did it. Every single person.
I even think of like the, player personnel, Coach Kevin Brown and Joe Price and all the things those guys had to do to adapt the way they do their job, the way they book travel accommodations, the way they reach out to recruits, the way they schedule, player meetings, all that stuff. It all had to change. Yeah. And UTSA rose to the challenge. And, my CEO at work, he's been sending emails out talking about how some of the best companies that are these huge mega billion-dollar companies, they all started during serious economic downturn. Because when you go through tough situations that challenge the integrity and the motivation of an organization, only the strong will survive. And so for UTSA to have the year that they did in these type of environment, these types of challenges, it bodes really well for the long-term success. There's no doubt about it.
Wow.
All right, we'll move on. We'll move on to game of the year. We had no write-in votes here, interestingly enough.
Wow.
Shout out to me for picking the 4 games that not a single person disagreed with. Wow. That's crazy. So, the non-finalists were actually tied. And that was the First Responder Bowl against Louisiana Lafayette and the game against Louisiana Tech.
Sure.
Or 2 games against Louisiana opponents. It's kind of interesting.
It is interesting, and I think it's actually I think it's actually pretty fair that these are the 2 that tied. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Because like one doesn't happen without the other. Like the Louisiana Tech game was the turning point of the season, I think.
Right.
If UTSA doesn't have that, was that third quarter or fourth quarter comeback? It was the second half, but.
Well, fourth quarter is when we sealed it kind of a little bit, not super early on, but earlier on in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But in the third quarter is when we kind of got life, right?
Yeah.
And the same, I think, sort of thing kind of happened in the bowl game to a degree.
Sure. Yeah.
And if we win the bowl game, of course, that's the game of the year, everyone's response.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the game against LA Tech is against a in-state opponent, that one is probably maybe
that's a good point,
more,
Adrian.
Sure. Yeah.
I think we'll have to bring this up the next time someone asks if that's a rivalry game or not. Because we can say, look, UTSA made a fourth quarter comeback against this team, put themselves in contention to win Conference USA West, to make them bowl eligible, and it still did not even get second place in the
Ain't nobody before for no Domy Awards, man.
That's just facts, bro. That's science.
That's just facts. That's just facts. Yeah. But the 2 games that got hella votes, crazy votes, that would be the 2 rivalries. And we were blessed to have a season where we got to play both of our rivals, North Texas and Texas State, one to begin and one to end, right? I mean, the kickoff and the finale, you couldn't write it better than that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. So we already started talking about Texas State game, so I guess we'll just pick back up with that one. Definitely my game of the year, hands down. The only game I watched in person with friends, because we met up and we watched it together. And that was a lot of fun. But man, just a wild roller coaster of a game. I mean,
crazy.
Just think of that opening touchdown for Texas State. Like it felt like, oh crap, like this is their year, new coach for UTSA and, just a lot of unknowns. Like we didn't know what to expect. And then UTSA answers right away. And, they just take the game over for a while and then let the Bobcats back in. I mean, there's just no way we can list every crazy part of that game.
Well, and the game against UNT was just a fantastic exclamation point to a brilliant, brilliant kind of ending streak of winning to the season. So, that was just a great moment.
Yeah, it's interesting that the 2 finalists are both games that I thought that UTSA was going to lose going into it and games that we both pulled out against in-state opponents. So I think that adds a little extra flair to it.
Goes to show goes to show you, Mr. Always keeping it way too objective and not being homer enough for your team and rooting for us.
Well, Texas State was a favorite in that one. I think that UTSA was favored against UNT, but just by like 2 points or something like that.
And it was almost like we had won too many games straight to
right
be comfortable with. We had won 2 straight, I think, at that point, or 3 out of 4.
Yeah, and I think. Yeah, UNT had just beat Rice like a week or 2 before that too. So that was kind of scary, It's like, okay, like UNT's putting it together. They've kind of had a rocky season, but they showed what they're capable of.
Yeah.
UTSA just flattened them, man. They were just a vastly superior team. That was UNT team that looked like they didn't want to be playing. Very little passion on that squad.
And against UTSA of all opponents, right? Who they usually bring their very best football to the table for, who they usually have circled, highlighted, and asterisks next to on the schedule. So it's nuts.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and announce the winner. And the 2020 Alamodome Audible Domey for Game of the Year goes to Texas State.
Aha!
With 55% of the vote.
Of course.
I think it's easy. I mean, it was the most cinematic game, the most exciting game, probably the most memorable game. Against a rival. I mean, what's not to like,
No, man. It's the best. You got to love it. Every single time we play Texas State, it's electric. This was the best matchup it's delivered. And just like we were lauding about it at the beginning of this show, I mean, that was the craziest emotional experience I've ever had watching a game. And it was to kick off the season. Jeff Traylor's debut on ESPN2. I mean, the perfect storm for
Another thing we haven't
mentioned
yet, it showed that the offense was going to be drastically different than last season. I mean, they came out guns blazing, fastest tempo they ran with all season long.
Right. Well, it was Jeff Traylor's debut. You hadn't seen this version of UTSA football yet. It was the grand unveiling. And we didn't even think we were going to get football. And to get the absolute best version of a football game, right, against a rival to kick it off. I mean, it was cinematic.
Yeah, and I remember us saying to each other, like, look, if this is the only game we play this year, if COVID shuts this whole thing down next week, I'm satisfied. And that says a lot right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's nothing better. To do it in the fashion we did is one thing, right? But, I mean, anytime, any day of the week, there's nothing better than beating Texas State.
Yep.
And just controlling that rivalry. Undefeated, baby. Game of the year, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, so we are moving on to Alum of the Year. So I guess we got to address the elephant in the room here. Since we, A, allowed for write-in votes, and B, allowed people to vote as many times as they wanted on the honor system, because I thought you all were honorable, decent people. We had some
foul play, some rigging, some rigging of the system. Yeah, some
Definitely.
Gaming of the system, fixing the numbers.
So about 2 days after the ballot was posted, we saw the number of responses jump by over 100 within just a couple of hours.
Whoa.
It turns out infamous Twitter user, often reported, often banned, often blocked, Hassan Bazarni, decided to vote for himself over 118 times. So I had to go in and manually delete. I think I got about 114 of them. And so I didn't get all of them. He's still on here somewhere.
Yeah, there's a couple.
But yeah, he voted for himself for Alum of the Year and Tweeter of the Year. Which is like whatever. But he just put like mumbo jumbo in and like skewed the votes for all the other categories. So in order to protect the sanctity of the vote, had to go back and take care of that. So that really sucked. Screw you, Hassan. That's all I'm gonna say on that matter. But yeah, next year please don't cheat.
Well, I think we're going to be enforcing some protocols. We're probably going to have to limit it down to one vote per. Maybe have the login system.
I hate to do that because you got to log in to vote. That's no fun.
Well, it's no fun, but I mean, Jared, how else do we protect the sanctity of the vote here? You've got to show your ID card at the door, baby. I mean, this is this is a vote, and you said yourself, this is a democracy that we run here with the Domeys. And the democracy has to be protected. There's got to be laws. There's got to be rules. And sometimes, heavy is the gavel, right? So
true,
and he who rules has to have that strong hand, baby, and got to do it. Got to rule it. But
there's an option. There's an option to enable a single vote, but you'd have to log on to Google to do that. But I think everyone has a Google account.
Know that you will get blasted and flamed right here on the air if you mess with the podcast.
Oh, and I want to say, so next year, if you guys want to run campaigns, that's fine. I don't care, as long as it's like real people voting and not just like someone that's crazy.
Oh, that would be so cool. If you had a bunch of guys on Twitter saying vote for me. Well, again,
I'm down for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm down. That's fine. I'm down for a little campaigning. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But if you set up a script or you just go in and manually vote for yourself over and over, like, that's so lame. Come on now. All right. Well, to move on, we got a ton of write-ins. They are all over the board. A lot of names I do not know or recognize. Some of them I'm afraid to Google. Obviously, our band Christian XXX is on here.
My man.
Taco Joe got a vote.
My dude.
Congratulations on your graduation, sir.
Oh, wow. Commencement for young Taco Joe. I remember whenever he was, just a young Taco Joe. And now he's a little bit older Taco Joe. Wow.
To keep it within the Bad Birds, Connor Smith got a vote. Congratulations on your engagement.
Wow. Great job.
Major accomplishment.
Big shout out to the Bad Birds getting radical out there, getting rowdy.
There are some votes on here that are also for Hassan, but I think they are not him based off the other things that they said about him. On a lot of his votes for himself, he gave himself nicknames. But there's one that says Hassan's crazy ass. I'll let that stand. He gets that one.
Wow. Okay, sure. We'll still honor the true votes, no doubt.
Brad Parscale got a vote. The former UTSA alum who bandaged Trump's campaign and was riled in scandal and got arrested shirtless outside of his Florida home.
Crazy.
Way to represent there. Matt Hoffman got a vote. Congratulations on the birth of your first child.
Huge.
Let's see who else. Oh, and then right there. So there was a vote for Martin Salis, but I think that meant to say Martin Salinas, the major UTSA donor.
Right. I'm gonna
guess that that's who that was. I think it's just a typo. Yeah, and there's some other ones that I don't recognize that might have been joke votes. I don't know. But of course, I'm not surprised by this at all. This is the only award that a write-in candidate earned more votes than a on-ballot candidate, and that was, of course, Sir Pack Lines. No surprise there.
No surprise.
Yeah, so he got a pretty decent chunk, especially out of the write-ins. He was one of the few that had multiple write-ins. Okay, so out of the formal candidates, we had one that received a lot of votes, and that was Sagar Shaki.
Mm-hmm.
So he is the UTSA alum who was selected for a role in, is it a Marvel movie?
Yes, the Marvel movie. So he is to be the sibling of actually the main character, the main protagonist in the film. He's going to be the older brother, and he's going to have superpowers. And if I'm not mistaken, and I have it here, but he's going to be the very first, I want to say, is Middle Eastern descent superhero. It's going to be featured. Here we go. I've got you here. The Marvel's first Muslim superhero, the older brother of the movie's title character, Miss Marvel. Boom.
Very cool.
Huge.
Miss Marvel.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And the SA native on top of that. So not just the UTSA alum, but a San Antonio native, man.
You know, we've had a lot of successful alums in a lot of areas, but we haven't seen too many alums in the
showbiz.
Showbiz, yeah. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's massive, man.
All right, we're gonna get Cigar to host the next Domeys. There we go.
I love that. He would be so great at it. Yeah, he might charge a pretty penny at that point, but we gotta get those subscriptions up.
Yep. I don't know if you can handle these fancy envelopes, you know? I mean,
I know we've got a big superhero fan base, so no surprise that he got a lot of love there.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
So then the two finalists for Alum of the Year. So one of them got in on a technicality, but much deserved, I think. That's Dr. Pat Graham.
Okay.
So she didn't graduate from UTSA, but she worked there. I mean, damn near her whole life, man. She was just one of the faces of campus. If you were involved in campus life at all at UTSA, if you volunteered anywhere, you probably knew Dr. Graham. I mean, she loved UTSA. She was everywhere. She gave her heart and soul to the university, and unfortunately passed away last year. So huge loss to this community. I mean, she shaped so many lives. I know a ton of people have really, really close personal connections with her. So, you know, just want to give her due mention. It was great to see her get so many votes.
Yeah.
And the other finalist is Jim Bodenstep. So he did graduate from UTSA in 1996, and he was actually the first person to donate $1 million to the athletics department. That was right when football first started.
Yep.
2010, I believe. But we hadn't heard from Mr. Bodenstep in a while, who earned his riches by starting and running movie brands, which owns like KFC and Taco Bell and maybe Pizza Hut or something like that in the San Antonio surrounding areas. So obviously pretty big money there. And he made the list this year because he actually donated $5 million to the construction of Race. So, I mean, he single-handedly funded a pretty big chunk of that facility.
The football team, the athletics facility. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
$5 million at UTSA goes a pretty long way.
That's crazy, man. Crazy.
Right. And the Alamodome Audible 2020 Domey for Alum of the Year goes to Jim Bodenstep.
Oh, come on. Very well deserved. Absolutely.
It is.
Hey, man. The money talks, man.
It does.
The money talks. That's huge. Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you don't donate $5 million to this podcast, you will win Alum of the Year in 2021. So keep that in mind, guys. All right.
Yeah. I don't know, how would we incorporate a Patreon of the year, Patreon subscriber of the year, like the person that's kind of like the most engaged, like with the most comments and the best feedback and stuff like
people
that,
or something. Support us the most. I mean, there's a lot of people I have on mind right now that could be nominated, but maybe we should do that next year. Yeah, that'd Patreon subscriber of the year.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it could be something really, really. Yeah, the Patreon Service Award, and yeah, we could send something
people that
special.
give back to the community the most. Yeah,
we could send something special to that person too.
That's a good idea. Cool. Yeah, let's keep that one in mind.
Yeah, remember that, guys. Maybe we'll accept open nominations. You got to send in a video as to why you should be. Good. So
I've been in Jared's DM every week.
I just love Alamodome Audible so much. This guys, I listen to them every single week. So onward, we've got probably the most exciting category.
Yep.
That would be Best Play of the Year, the ultimate highlight of 2020.
Mm-hmm. I want to say, well, maybe not. I was going to say that this one probably had the most even distribution between the votes, but I don't think that's actually true. I think it was actually
maybe maybe one coming up here.
Maybe non-sports story of the year. But yeah, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. So we did have one write-in, and that was for Sincere's about 45-yard touchdown one against Louisiana Tech, which, Adrian, you actually just posted a GIF of on the blog on Patreon today. for his all-decade selection.
Yeah.
Great run, man. He saw that hole, he hit it, and it changed the UTSA season for the rest of the year.
It did. Yeah. So I did a write-up about our all-decade team, which was our last podcast episode. If you haven't heard it yet, made our selections for the UTSA all-decade team. And this afternoon, we did an article with essentially the ultimate highlight moment, the best plays from each guy, a part of that all-decade offense. So some great kind of memory lane highlights there down that rabbit hole of an article. So go ahead and check that out, because, man, I had a great time just watching those plays. I watched a few of them like 10 or 20 times.
I had an absolute blast just reading that, man. I mean, it just really took me back. I mean, there's a lot of like really monumental games for UTSA that I just don't have really strong memories of. You know, maybe they're games that I missed for weddings or whatever.
Right.
I mean, like one of the ones that you posted a GIF of, I was there in my seat at the Alamodome, but I just like didn't really remember that play because it was like really early in the game, but it was awesome. So that was a really great piece. Definitely thank you for sharing that with us. So fourth place was Trevor Harmanson's fake field goal tackle against Southern Miss, which I think this one was a little bit undervoted, to be honest with you. It was an awesome play. And
yeah.
Dude, look at the final score. That play won the game for UTSA. I know it happened early. It was only first or second quarter, but that was a huge play.
No, but like it was such a high level IQ play. Like the amount of awareness, responsiveness, and to play through. You know, I mean, they say play through the whistle. I mean, but to just be that involved with the play, because so many guys would just check out of just a field goal attempt like that. But to be heads up, notice that it was a fake, stay in your role, hold your position, and I mean, just man, it was just perfect. It really was. It was a high IQ level play, and I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of critical thinking on the football field that it takes to execute that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the athleticism he showed too. I mean, run all the way across the sideline like that.
Yes, sir.
It was a hard tackle. He threw the crap out of that kicker.
No, and it's like
it was, but
it will. And I love that you mentioned he ran across the field, because it's almost as if he knew it was up to him to do it. I mean, he kind of just honed in and just ran full all the way across and made that tackle, man. Yeah, athletic as hell.
Yeah. And then third place was Antonio Park's game-winning interception against Louisiana Tech. So if I remember correctly, I think DeQuarius Henry had the pressure on the quarterback to force the throw, or maybe he had the tip. I can't recall. But Parks made a really athletic catch to kind of grab that around his knees and pull it in to win that game. And you know, like we mentioned earlier, it was probably UTSA's most crucial win of the year, because the season just doesn't turn out the same if it's not for that Louisiana Tech win. And this play was a really big reason why.
Right. That was big.
Okay. The two finalists for Best Play of the Year are from the same game, and naturally, they're from the Domey 2020 Game of the Year against Texas State. We've got Josh Cephas's diving one-handed catch in overtime, which ended up on the SportsCenter top 10. Was it the top? Was it number one? It's number one.
I think it was our very first number one ever. We have had top 10s before, but I think that one was number one, I believe.
Christian Wilson had a number one for a dunk against Southern Miss.
No, football.
Oh, just for football?
For football.
It might have been.
Because Josh Stewart had his top 10, but I don't think it was
I don't think it was number one. Yeah,
right.
I think you might be right about that. So everyone knows that play. Enough said. And the other finalist is Rashad Wisdom's pick six in that same game. So it's tough. It's tough.
Damn.
Cephas's catch never happens without Wisdom's pick six.
No,
it was Rashad's first game back on the field after his younger brother passed away from cancer. Just to have a pick six in general is worthy of being play of the year, because it rarely happens. Off the top of your head, can you name players that have had pick sixes at UTSA? Frankie and I had one One of my all-time favorite UTSA football plays.
Well, and then there was the lateral 6 between Egg and Nate Gaines. I guess Nate Gaines gets accredited for that, but he didn't make the pick. So it's not like one guy got the pick 6, right? It was happened to be a pick that we scored 6 on, but it wasn't a single guy's pick 6.
Sure.
So very complicated.
We definitely have thrown a lot more pick 6s than we've returned. That's like we haven't done it in a while, but that's like a UTSA tradition that like when a new quarterback comes in for his first snap ever, he's got to throw a pick 6. It's just a rite of passage.
Sure, it's true. The magnitude of that play when Rashad made that pick 6, it was heavy, man.
Because it should have ended the game.
Yeah, that should have been it.
Because that should have been the seal. Like
should have sealed
2.5 minutes left or something like that. It was over.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that play. I'm going to be honest. I voted for this play. Reason being, it was like the ultimate pain to Texas State fans. You know what I'm saying? So that added benefit of upsetting those woeful Bobcats.
But the just damn talent behind Josh Cephas's catch.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the first of what would end up being a season full of just ridiculous catches that he's made. I mean, Josh Stewart level catchability, just hands talent. Josh Cephas is awesome at catching the football, and that was insane. He had some
plays as a freshman, don't get me wrong, but that catch showed what big of a jump he was going to make from his freshman to sophomore season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So and it was OT. Right? I mean, I get it. That was a massive play. But, yeah, for me, it was the pick 6.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's pull the winner. The 2020 Domey for Best Play of the Year goes to Josh Cephas's catch against Texas State.
Yup. I get it, man. I mean,
I can't argue it, man. I can't.
The acrobatics were huge when you watch the catch. It's insane. But the moment, I mean, when I remember that pick 6, dude, that was electric.
Yeah,
that was electric. Yep. So it was a pick 6 for me, but I won't argue it.
Man, this was the one category I thought I missed the most plays. You know, I thought we would have maybe the most write-ins for this category, but we just got the one. So I don't know.
Right.
I guess I think it really stands to how strong those 2 finalists were that we didn't get a lot of write-ins for plays. Because there's so many football plays. There's so many different ones that could have got it. I mean, Duplessis had like a 51-yard field goal. That could have been on there. Plenty of interceptions, you know, hard hits, forced fumbles. But, yeah, I mean. Oh, also, Cephas won it with 48% of the vote. So pretty strong showing there.
Yeah, he did. I was mostly surprised. I wasn't surprised that he won. I was surprised at how largely he won.
Yeah. Okay.
That was kind of shocking.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so Coach of the Year is an interesting one. So we had a write-in for Pat Hallmark, who I don't know what to think about this one. He's the UTSA baseball head coach. Well, I guess he did coach it in 2019, right? Or was 2020 his first year?
2019.
I think it's his second year. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
2019 would have been his.
Click on his bio.
No, 2020. 2020 was his first year. 2019 was not his year. He was Southland Conference Coach of the Year in 2019.
Right. Exactly.
He became the coach in June of 2019.
Gotcha. So he holds a 10-7 record at UTSA.
Yeah.
But I like him, man. I like his energy. I think he's going to take the baseball program in a good direction. He did a great job at Incarnate Word.
He obviously
knows the area really well.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, yeah. We also had write-in votes for Frank Wilson, who got 2 votes.
Did not coach a single game this season.
No. At UTSA or elsewhere. We got a write-in vote for the men's tennis coach Sergey Avdiev. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And he's definitely taking the men's tennis program in a good direction. They had some really, really good showings before the season that got cut short. And same as well for the softball coach, Michelle Cheatham, who was nominated for a couple of votes. Softball team had been looking good. They were probably the second best team, maybe, for UTSA this year. Oh, I did hear that we snubbed the women's golf team. But I think that most of their big wins actually came at the end of 2019 and not the beginning of 2020. So, yeah. Those are all the non-winners. The winner received 96% of the vote. Gotta keep it official, honestly. We don't want to cut corners here at Alamodome Audible. The 2020 Domey Award for Coach of the Year goes to Coach Jeff Traylor.
There's no doubt about it, man. I mean, Coach Traylor has just brought a resurgence. I mean, from his opening press conference all the way up through, the last game he was able to coach for us, at least, and I'm sure virtually during the bowl game. But he just has brought an electric, resurgent energy to a program that was dying, man. I mean, single-handedly, I think, was able to garner back interest and excitement before even playing a game, and then delivered on it when the team got onto the field. Dude, you cannot say enough about the guy. A coach's coach, it seems to be in every single regard. And he's been a hard ass when he's needed to be. He's been great to talk to. He's been transparent, a lot of personality behind him. Great, fantastic for quotes and for jargon, for talking head points.
Hotter than fish grease, baby.
Hotter than fish grease, that guy, Jeff Traylor. And I love him. Been fantastic so far. Let's hope he can continue to maintain the level of success and now the caliber, right, of standard that he's kind of brought with him to the program. So he's kind of set the bar high. Frank Wilson did that, and it hurt him. Mm-hmm. But that's what you've got to do. You got to set the bar high, and you've got to deliver on it. So Godspeed, Jeff.
The big benefit that Jeff gets is that his team was so young. Frank Wilson's 26 team had a lot of seniors on it.
Sure.
Juniors. So
sure. Well, and I think to be so polar opposite of what you had with Frank, I just, kind of personality wise, I think that's kind of really, really helped kind of his standing and his credence whenever he first got here, before he kind of gave us a game that we could see and watch. Mm-hmm. People were able to get behind him, I think, because of his personality.
Yeah. Another thing I've been thinking about a lot recently too is, like, he didn't have a lot of guys hit the transfer portal when he first came into UTSA. He came in and he made a first impression.
Talk to every guy one-on-one, the entire roster. Mm-hmm. One-on-one, interviewed them.
So obviously he kept it real with them because everyone stuck around. Even some guys that I thought were prime candidates to transfer out. He recruited guys that were in the transfer portal that went into the transfer portal under Frank Wilson, and he brought them back to UTSA. I mean, it's kind of phenomenal. And now you look too, NCAA is allowing, a one-time free pass for anyone to transfer after this COVID year. We've hardly seen any UTSA players go in. And I think the ones that we have were guys that got their degree and, are looking for more playing time elsewhere. And it's like a no love lost type situation. So
yeah,
it just goes to show the great job he's doing.
Yeah. Tremendous, man.
So well deserved. Let's move on to my favorite category, perhaps the most hotly contested.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
juicy.
I'm trying to eyeball here. I would say there's a solid 15 to 20% of votes that were write-ins.
Dude, I mean, it's a great category just in general.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is Tweeter of the Year. And everybody who's anybody whether you directly participate in it, whether you just passively scroll and look at it, or you're a member of another team's Twitter base, but your team happened to play UTSA once upon a time. Maybe it was years ago. UTSA Twitter is a massive machine, a living, breathing animal, monster of its own. And we've got some fantastic people that make that heartbeat go. And man, so it's a great category.
This is a great time to share a story that I came up with recently. So I was on the phone with my buddy from high school just last week, and he was asking like how things are going with the podcast and all that. And, we just kind of got to talking, and he was like, "Yeah, you probably don't know this, but I have a Twitter burner account, and I follow you on there." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "Yeah, I like to keep up with the stories and check out the podcast and all that." And he was like, "Yeah, that UTSA Twitter, man, you guys have got some characters." He's like, "I only follow like 6 people on Twitter, but sometimes I'll go into the rabbit hole and I start going through these threads where UTSA Twitter people are arguing with each other or making fun of each other, whatever." And he started to like list some people by name. It was just so funny that, a friend of mine that
not
has
an alum,
nothing to do with UTSA, has never been to a UTSA game, doesn't know any of these people other than me, just gets so much entertainment out of UTSA Twitter. That's a beautiful thing.
Oh my gosh.
The content is so good.
Insane. Are you kidding me? Unreal, man. Unreal.
So let's start going through some of these write-ins. We got a lot for Jake. Rowdy Hawk got a lot of votes.
My guy. And so
that was actually because Jake almost made the top 4 as one of the primary candidates, and he just missed the cut. And then we got a write-in vote right when the ballots opened, and I was like, "Oh man, I've made a huge mistake. Jake should have been on there." So he didn't get a lot of votes
for sure.
Hey, have another strong showing. You might show up next year, because I can't pick the same guys. I can't. I think I don't know, because people are going to write in whoever they want, so it's kind of tough.
Right. What are you going to do?
I guess we have to decide now, do we have the policy we cannot have repeat winners, or will we allow for repeat winners?
So it's going to be, I think, really, really difficult for you to warrant yourself as a repeat winner.
Yeah.
I think you've got to really smash it out of the park in order to be a repeat winner.
Yeah.
Tweeter of the year might be one of those categories that might, have a little bit more of a chance. Right. I mean, people kind of can control their destiny in that regard.
Well, and plus,
tweet their asses off.
Having a large follower account is like a built-in kind of like first mover's advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have more exposure, more people likely to vote for you. So.
No doubt.
But let's not over-regulate this thing. Let's not make a formal rule.
We don't want to over-regulate it. We don't want to be formal.
Yeah,
but I just think, I think natural selection won't allow there to be a consistent repeat.
At some point, we might have to institute term limits here.
Definitely. Yeah, sure. But no, big shout out to Rowdy Hawk, my guy Jake. He is a Sosa OG, 2011 inaugural Sosa. What up? It's a big deal, man. So yeah, I respect that. Gotta love that. We had a couple other guys on here, big time Bird Gang crew members. So that's always real cool. Big shout out, of course, to the Tailgate SA
legend,
Maddie Vincent, the legend, great UTSA football mind, the encyclopedia.
His memory always blows me away. Like,
it's insane. He just says it. He just spits it out, and it's like automatic.
Yeah, and, just today reminded me of why Maddie was a nomination for this award. In 2016, I tweeted pictures I found of a 4-star recruit named Katie Nixon that came to visit a UTSA game with one of his buddies that was getting recruited by UTSA. And Katie looked like he was having a great time. He had his UTSA shirt on. So fast forward 5 years later, Maddie digs up that tweet and says, Katie Nixon's now in the transfer portal. UTSA should go look at him.
Woo!
I was like, damn, man, how'd you remember that?
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Photographic, man.
He definitely comes up with stuff that no one thinks of. And that's what I love most about his account. And the barbecue pictures.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. Fitmaster.
Javi got a lot of votes, naturally. I feel like Javi covers a lot of grounds. He's got the memes. He's got the exclusive info. He's got the recruiting tips.
Well, it's Javi's delivery that is so damn good. It's completely just right down the middle. You know, I mean, he just gives it to you straight, and there's no fluff behind no. I mean, Javi just tells it like it is. He just does it so well, and it's just plain, and it's there for you, and it's, you know, keeps it simple and less is more. And I think Javi's mastered that with his UTSA tweets, you know, his updates and news. They're just perfect, and it's all you need.
This was not 2020, so shouldn't wait into the voting. I think this was actually 2018, 2019. But do you remember when Javi tweeted, folks, I'm sorry to inform you that UTSA is a bad football team? Dude, people got so mad at him. And then like 3 weeks later, a lot of the same people who were calling him a fake fan and fake news or whatever were then like changing their Twitter names to be like Fire Frank Wilson.
Oh my God.
That's the show, man. Javi plays it straight.
But to just do it with, the demeanor, perfect, just calm, regular guy telling you. And he didn't, you know, there was no bias behind it. There was no opinion behind it. It was just a factual a statement of fact. All Javi's going to give you, real talk, and that is it. And hot damn, so good. So, and he's ahead of the ball a lot of times with it. Definitely ahead of his time with that particular tweet. I remember the backlash. That was tough. So great to see him now get his just do his tweeter of the year as you're having to experience the downturn, the journey of Javi as a tweeter really has come a long way. Yeah. Huge.
To keep it within the media, Greg Luca also received several write-in votes.
My guy.
Just, an invaluable resource for UTSA fans. Greg's the guy that's going to get answers to the questions that we have, and he's going to do it in an extremely professional and sensible way.
Great podcast guest.
Yeah. I love him and JJ. After every game, they did like a little recap of the game.
Those are the best. The immediate reaction. Yeah.
I watched every single one of those, man. And Greg's football knowledge really shines through on those. Super sharp guy, knows his stuff. It's always really enjoyable. I mean, sometimes him and JJ will be on there, and Greg just pulls out a sheet of paper. He was like, "Well, UTSA was in 21 personnel and 8% of this now."
What?
I know, blows my mind.
Dude, the best.
Okay, Matt Hockman received a vote at MHatchTX.
My guy.
Birdhouse L received several write-in votes.
Oh.
I actually don't think I follow them. I guess
they follow me either. Yeah, okay. You started a couple of new follows.
I'll have to check that one out. Alamodome Audible received a vote.
So what a dog!
That kind soul.
Hey, we scaled up the old Twitter page a little bit.
We stepped it up a little bit on Twitter this year.
Damn.
And shout out to Aaron for his help on that, because Aaron created all these great graphics that we were able to use.
Our Picasso, man.
And of course, for Eric, our photographer. I received a vote. Someone said that man Jared. Unless it was another Jared, could have been.
Might be.
Yep. But my favorite write-in, we had two of these that were pretty similar. They just said that Twitter kind of sucked this year, and that no one was worthy of winning the award.
I gotta disagree with that.
I don't know, man. That's a take. It's a strong take.
I mean, what did you want from Twitter during pandemic season? We couldn't even go to games in person. Of course it was going to suck.
I mean, if you think of all the best UTSA Twitter moments, they all are around tailgates and stuff like that. And we didn't have any of that this year.
For sure. Well, and dude, just the energy that you have as an individual, knowing that on Saturday you're going to be at the game, you act different on Twitter. You are being a little bit more ignorant, arrogant, and just pumped. I mean, you're pumped to be at the stadium watching your football team. You feel like you're going to war with them. And you're on there just letting it fly.
Another
right?
thing too,
And so, energy is different.
People are more drunk in a regular season.
Sure.
Than they are the quarantine year, I think.
Sure.
Could be wrong.
No, I'd agree with you there. Yeah, man, because it's only so much fun to drink at home, and you can only have so much before you fall asleep on your couch.
Right.
God, I don't know how guys do it. Yeah.
All right, so the two finalists at Bootleg Bentley, the meme god. That man can flip a meme in 30 seconds. And it does it all from his phone, dude.
Dude, like UTSA, just as a university, man, I don't even know if we're yet worthy of Bootleg's meme brilliancy. Like, there aren't too many anythings, schools, teams, athletics teams, programs, companies that just have a meme machine quite like Bootleg, and just masterpieces, so creative, so smart, so well done, so executed, high quality, high res, and fast turnaround. And it doesn't even, it's not requested by anybody. He whips out and he pulls it out and he has it and it's relevant. He doesn't have somebody sending him meme topics that they need done for. He is just a man. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, UTSA needs to give him some more money for creating these damn things. It should be a part of his job roles, his job duties. It's incredible.
And then our other finalist is a UTSA institution at the JJ Perez himself, the man who's been doing it longer than anyone.
Yes, sir.
Back when,
Runner Sports, baby.
Gosh, what were they called before Inside Runner Sports? Was it like Rowdy Tailgaters or something like that?
Something like that.
I can't
remember exactly.
I can't remember. Like that. I remember like getting on there and like posting on like the little like message. It wasn't even a message board. It was like a little chat box, and I was like so excited that like Eric Sosa was transferring to UTSA. Like those were the days. And JJ has never let up, man. He is so persistent. He absolutely grinds. I love like when practice starts and it's open to media, he's always posting like Periscope videos from practice. Man, I super, super appreciate that. He's at pretty much every single media availability. So great place to look for quotes and all that. So yeah, man, JJ's a legend for sure.
Absolutely. Big shout out to JJ.
This one is close, folks.
It's close.
The winning candidate made a big break in the last like 2 days. But nonetheless, the 2020 Domey for Tweet of the Year goes to at Bootleg Bentley.
Of course. Boot, the meme god. No doubt, bro. No doubt. Well deserved, Boot. Look, just because of the meme content, I could see Boot getting Tweeter of the Year, year after year after year. So he might have to have a term limit at some point, unless someone else can figure out how to make memes and gives the way that Bootleg does, just because he's so damn good at it. So, but JJ kept it extremely close, man. Big shout out to JJ.
Definitely,
he kept it
definitely
super close all the way up until the bitter end. I don't know, maybe Bootleg was rigging the numbers a little bit there at the end. I don't know. But JJ did a fantastic job and always does a great job tweeting. So this was an awesome category. Very excited for this category coming on in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So guys, get your tweets off now, because we have it in mind now who we're going to vote for next year. So you're going to come strong. I got to see hot takes. Got to see good content, good memes. Let's keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you know what? I think King Bowser, old Mark. I think he should have got some nomination here for keeping the bird shots going all year.
Dude, yeah. How about the architect of the bird shots himself, sending them around and keeping that energy up high whenever we really, really needed to celebrate and be together, because we couldn't be. We're just talking about tailgates and Twitter not being able. How about the virtual tailgate that is bird shots? Yeah, my guy. Good call, right, man. Good call.
Well, we are on to the last topic, and that is the meme of the year.
Ooh, speaking of memes.
Yeah,
Oh
speaking of boot,
man.
so I'm not gonna lie, all 4 of the candidates that I picked were bootleg memes.
Of course.
Um, and the 2 write-ins were also bootleg memes.
Of course. He's UTSA's meme machine.
But it makes me wonder, what did I miss? It's such a long season. It's hard to remember.
Well, I think a normal season has more memes.
Yeah, definitely.
A
lot of the memes like come out of the tailgates and stuff.
There just wasn't as much activity on Twitter. Not as many people were getting on Twitter tweeting about UTSA football or just college football in general. It just wasn't happening. Right. So, maybe the meme creation was a little bit less than usual, right? The meme output from the general public, the general tweeting public was a little bit lower.
Yeah. Well, one of the write-ins, I if I could go back, I might vote for this one. And that was when Bootleg made the Valentine's card for Coach Traylor's Hotter Than Fish Grease quote.
Yeah, that one was forgotten, man, because it's in February, right? So easy to forget.
I know.
But that was huge. Yeah, we're going to try to do a better job of documenting these categories throughout the year where we see
we need to keep a running document going in our Alamodome Audible.
Sure. Because it was that one is a great. I remember that card. It was fantastic.
Yep. Another write-in we got was for all of the crying Jordan faces for UNT, of which there were many. So I like that. I like that it's not a specific meme. It's like multiple wrapped into one. I approve that. So we actually have a tie for second place. So I'm just gonna read off all of them and then I'll say the winner. 10% or 11% of the vote went to the "Are You Not Entertained" meme, which was Dr. Campus's face on the gladiator. I think that was right when race broke ground. So I love that one.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I saw that one
yeah,
when it was first posted.
So no, I remember that one.
And then the 2 that were tied for second place, one was the picture of Frank Wilson's face superimposed over Dave Chappelle from that skit where he's like counting all of his money after Frank Wilson got his big buyout from UTSA. And then tied with that was the you versus the guy that she told you not to worry about one, where you was the green man from UNT.
Yeah.
The guy who made his costume from Walmart supplies. And then the guy that she told you not to worry about was El Gran Beak. Beautiful stuff.
Can't beat it.
Yep. But last envelope of the night, last Domey of the night, the 2020 Domey for Meme of the Year, the most prestigious category we have, goes to the Texas Football Grim Reaper meme.
Sure. No doubt.
The one that I voted for. So if you're unfamiliar, this meme is like the Grim Reaper walking down a hallway with like 4 doors. And it was like in the order of the Texas teams that UTSA had beaten football. So it was like Texas State, SFA, Louisiana Tech, or sorry, who else did we beat? I'm missing someone. Crap.
Texas State, SFA, UTEP.
UTEP, that was it.
And then UNT.
Yeah, so then the 3 doors for those 3 teams have like bloody trails coming out of them.
And then UNT was still closed, right?
Going up to knock on the UNT one.
Right. Yeah.
That one is beautiful. It tells a great story, honestly.
Work of art. Yeah, so much narrative behind that one single meme. And really just kind of capped or illustrated that dominant run that we had through November. I mean, we were just on a tear. We were messing up everybody and anybody, right? At least that's what it felt like. November, UTSA really felt unbeatable, right? And so that captured it really well. But Frank Wilson Chappelle was my personal favorite. That's what I voted for.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was great. I feel like there's so many that fell through the cracks. It's so hard to keep up and to document. So, yeah. So yeah, that's it, man. Those are all the categories. I have no more envelopes in my suit pocket, so we made it through. And man, it was a lot of fun. Like, definitely one of the, I think, most fun things that we've done. here at Alamodome Audible. We'll definitely keep it going. But we couldn't do it without you guys. I mean, if it was just Adrian and I debating about who we'd want to pick, I don't think it'd be as fun as having that community participation. So thank you again for that. And just try to keep a little note on your phone of who you want to vote for in some of these categories, and some of the best ones. And I think I might do like an open nomination thing before we post the ballot next year, because I really feel like there were some write-ins that would have maybe won or at least gotten like top 2 or 3 had they been one of the top options, like to just click on, instead of write-ins. So
yeah.
Well, Adrian, any parting words from you before we get out of here?
I just can't thank everybody enough, man, for being part of the Alamodome Audible listening base. It still blows both of our minds all the time that people listen to us talk for an hour, sometimes 2, every single week.
How long was this? I didn't count.
No, we were good. I think probably an hour and a half, maybe hour 20.
Okay. I mean, given the circumstance, I think it's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate everybody's support, and we look forward for another fantastic year, 2021, with you guys.
Oh, one last thing before we go. So over Adrian's left shoulder, you want to show that bad boy?
So earlier I was talking about the article and the podcast episode that we did last week. That would be the all-decade team to commemorate 10 full entire seasons of UTSA football. This year cup is a mint condition 2011 Alamodome inaugural football season souvenir cup.
Yeah. Is that sucker up for bidding?
Absolutely not.
Oh man, how much though would it take to part ways with it?
Dude,
everything's got a price, brother.
That's a really good question. I mean,
you have a wedding to pay for now, man. Come on now.
It would be outlandish. It would probably be more than you would be willing to pay, or anybody that's listening for that matter. But make your offers. Absolutely make your offers.
All right. Your DMs are open, right?
Yeah, I'm willing to hear. I would love to get it signed by Coker one day.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, my boy Beef had 2. And I was like, come on, bro, you got 2? And they're in perfect condition. Are you kidding me? And he's like, all right. Only because it's you. So,
all right. That's a good friend right there.
Not a scratch on it. Make your offer. I probably won't entertain it. I probably won't entertain it, but
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up. So we've done our 2 major projects that we had slated for early this year, which was the all-decade team. Now the Domeys, right? So now we're in full off-season mode. I mentioned on the last podcast, I've got a laundry list of ideas for stuff we can cover, and I've got some more that some listeners proposed to me over the past couple of days. But in the near future, we're going to start lining up some guests to come on the podcast. So we're working on scheduling those. That'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, just stay tuned, and it's going to be a great off season for us here at Alamodome Audible. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot wait to get a little bit wild, wacky, and off the rails, but still stay relevant. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Man, we're going to be talking about race in a couple of months. As that continues to develop, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm excited about that. So stay tuned, guys. We got blogs coming. We got episodes coming. And hopefully we got some basketball wins coming. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we got the big win over UNT.
One of them.
That was much needed.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, to split with the defending champ is a big win. I'll take that all day.
It was. And the manner in which we came back was big.
Right.
So
right.
We'll update you guys with some basketball news next week. Maybe we have a couple more ways to talk about too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have some scheduling updates too. So
yes,
we need to talk about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Adrian, another Domeys award down. Can I get a toast? Clink.
Absolutely. Sorry. Yeah.
We're out of here, guys. Y'all stay safe and take care.